Hi folks, and welcome to Spa for a little bit of a slightly different video. Now what I'm going to try and explain here is the best way to get this cheeky little rascal off the line. So you can see my iRacing pedal inputs there, so you should be able to see what I'm doing with my pedals. And in a nutshell, we are going to get Z1 dash on the screen. I run a little dash up in that top corner that you can't see, but what that does is it gives me the dashboard on the screen, but it also has an accelerometer. So this is quite useful if you want to test what is the fastest thing to get away in this car. So as we've got a nice long straight just on pit exit, that's why we chose Spa. So let's pull up to stop, and you'll see there the dash resets to 0. So now at this point we can full throttle and do a pretend start like we would in the real race start of a race, to be honest. So come to a stop, full brake, and what should we do for the first test? We are going to do full brake, throttle, and then clutch away and let iRacing deal with it. The only auto clutch that I run is auto stall, so iRacing is going to deal with the power of the little engine behind us. So let's see what happens. So full brake there, we're on the bite point, off we go. And you'll see what Z1 will give us is 0 to 100 kph. Then 0 to 100 mile an hour whenever we get there. And we should get the quarter of a mile in 12.594. So not too bad. I'm mainly focusing at the 0 to 100 kph because that's going to be the interesting one. So 4.219. So tyres would have warmed up there, so it's best to restart the car and go again. Obviously, when I'm pulling away like this, I'm trying to be as smooth as possible, not to put any additional temperature into the tyres. Your race tyres will be different from my pit lane tyres, so bear that in mind. You may have to test a few times yourselves in a race session just to get used to it, or a practice session or something like that. But yeah, they are going to be slightly different. So this time we're going to do a full clutch with a full clutch release on full throttle, and we see what that does. So we got on the straight bit, down to first gear, come to a nice steady stop. So I'm going to put my foot on the clutch right now to be 100%. Throttle, full clutch, and we do get a lot of wheel spin. But we still do the test to see what is going to be the best. So 4.42 up to 100 kph, 10 to that, and we've done the quarter mile in 12 seconds. So yeah, third of a second slower I think on that one. So again, reset back to the pits and we'll try again. So this time I think what we'll do is we won't have any brake, any full throttle. We will just pull away like we would from the pit lane, and we'll see what happens. I know a lot of people as well, I might try it actually, might try this one. So what a lot of people do is have the throttle, nail the throttle, and then select first gear, which I didn't think you could do, to be honest, but we're going to have a test. Oh yes, you can. But it's very similar to the drop in the clutch at 100% as well. Oh, a little bit quicker actually. We got 0.2 quicker than the other one. That's interesting to know. Although slower to quarter of a mile? Interesting. Right. Let's use a slightly more delicate clutch foot. So yes, what I'm going to do, pull up to a stop as we always do. First gear, foot clutch, full throttle, lift the clutch slowly and try and do it with my foot. Try and mimic a second stage clutch, if you will. So that's a 4 second to 0 to 100 kph. 9.6, quarter of a mile in 12.4. That quarter of a mile isn't changing that much, depending on the start, is it? I mean, it is changing by a few tenths, granted, but... Now, let's do the start that I normally like to do. Now, my clutch pedals on my wheel are set at 34% because I've just checked. They were at 35, but I was finding it a little bit different. So I normally start a race off with 34% on my paddle system. So what that means is I'll pull both clutches in, let one of them go, and the clutch will drop down to 34%. So let's try that one. Again, both paddles in for me, 34 on the screen, full throttle. I'll let one go. When the engine's recovered, away we go. It's 3.9. Definitely the quickest one so far. 9.6. And 12.3 to the quarter mile. So that definitely is the fastest way to go. And that's what this double clutch system is technically, you know, officially used for, isn't it? It's to get to the bite point immediately and then away you go. So what other ways can you help your starts? Now, considering we did a 3.9, I don't think anywhere's going to get near to that with a clutch. But what a lot of people do in iRacing is short throw their foot clutch and then have a secondary control. So what I'll do is, I don't know why I pulled out on here on the circuit, but I will show you what that involves. So if you go to your options page, and if you can see that, yes, you can, absolutely fine. So you set your clutch pedal as normal. So there's two options with this. Obviously, you can do full throttle, brake, obviously pretty self-explanatory. Now, the clutch pedal, you can short throw your clutch. So what you can do, click reset. You can press it until you want to get off and then let go. And then that number stays at a partial pedal input. So if I click done now, I can get to 100% quite quickly. But I don't want to do that just yet. So what I want to do is do a full clutch pedal like that. And then I want to come over to this control. And then what I want to do is set a second clutch. I'm going to set it to a random button on my steering wheel. So this is how you're mimicking, well, you're kind of mimicking a dual clutch start without having to have a dual clutch. Let's try and go up here as easy as we can. Turn in nice and easy. Don't want any temperature tires to gain as much as we can. Want to minimize that, because obviously that will improve our starts. And this is where I say it will be different in a race session. Tire temps will be different at the start of the race compared to me coming out of the pits. So at this point, what I can do is, we have the clutch pedal and we also have the button. You can see there, I'm pressing it with my thumb on the top camera, and you can see the clutch going mad on the pedal inputs. So what I can do is use my foot and get to a nice percentage of where I want to do, and hold that there. Then I press my button and hold it in, and then I can start the race. So at the moment, I'm holding my button, clutch, and my foot in the same position as best I can to mimic the second stage. So in full throttle, I can let go of that button and then lift away my foot from the rest of the clutch. And that way you can almost get a second stage clutch without having to have double paddles. So it can be quite useful if you get it completely spot on. So it is going to be useful, and you are going to have to practice this. I'm going to try maybe there. I don't know what percentage that is. Maybe 20, 25. Press my clutch button, full throttle, let my button go, and then let the rest of the clutch go. And away we go. And we get there dead on 4 seconds. And we do the 100 in 9.6. And will we get to the quarter? Yes, we will. So theoretically, that is a tenth slower than my dual paddles. So it's not going to be as accurate, obviously, because you've got to rely on your foot. But there's plenty of apps out there to show you a bigger clutch input and a particular percentage. I know Race Labs actually says a number. So at least then when you press your clutch, you can aim for 30%, 40%, whatever you find get you off the line quicker. So as I say, my clutch paddles on my steering wheel are set at 34%. Let's just try to drop that down to 33. So let's do the start. First gear would help. My clutches aren't set. Right, so we did basically a 4 dead with my makeshift double clutch. There we go. I'm a little bit slower, look. Not by a lot. 9.6, quarter of a mile. 12.3. So that, holding your clutch there with your foot and that button is as good as dual paddles on your steering wheel. So yeah, top tip there. But that is definitely the best way of getting this car off the line. Setting it to about 30%, something like that. And then dropping the other stage just as the engine goes. You'll be absolutely golden. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this a little bit useful. I will catch you on the next one.